What's up, Dunk Squad? It's Wayne Duncan, No Vision Duncan. It's that season. Madden 23 is finally here. But first and foremost, I want to say once again, rest in peace. Long live the late, great John Madden. Thank you, Coach, for everything. We're going to be kicking things off with the Madden legacy game between the NFC, the AFC, and some of the NFL legends. With all that being said, let's waste no more time and let's start the game. We're going to be controlling the NFC.
This is a special presentation of EA Sports from the Coliseum in Oakland. Our tribute to the coach, the John Madden Legacy Game. I'm Brandon Gaudin here to take you through the proceedings. And coming up, we're going to tell the story of a man who was truly larger than life and whose impact on the sport of football certainly is going to live on for decades and decades to come. Now, we've assembled a couple of rosters featuring some of Coach's favorite players from both yesterday and today. And Coach himself will be on the sidelines for both squads, trying to motivate his guys to victory. And I'm joined now by my good friend Charles Davis. CD, your thoughts on John Madden and what he meant to the sport he loved so much?
For me, Brandon, it's the word joy. He brought that to the game of football, brought the game to so many people. He stayed involved his entire life. And moving forward, when you think of football, you're always going to think John Madden.
The Coliseum back to its original 70s glory. What a scene in the East Bay. And we're underway in the John Madden Legacy Game. So it's the NFC stars who will get the ball first. And Charles, as we alluded to, we've got a different era of coach on each sideline. So the man coaching this NFC squad, we'll call him Young John Madden. This is a coach who was trying to establish a foothold in the NFL and on the cusp of doing it very successfully.
Yeah, you think back to that period, those early days as the coach of the Raiders, the late 60s in the AFL, and then in the NFL in the early 70s. The coach was a guy who was ahead of his time. The Raiders were one of the first teams to have mini camps, one of the first to film practice, because he wanted to practice coaching as much as he could. And his teams, they were successful right from the start of his head coaching tenure.
It'll be Sanders to begin the drive. And he's taken down, but able to slip across the 35. Just like that, it's a gain of 12 and a first down on their first play. So as we mentioned at the top, let's take you through the life of John Madden. And, you know, it's very fitting that we're here back in the Bay Area, not just because John's so associated with Raider football, but also because this was where he spent his formative years.
Yeah, he grew up over in Daly City with his buddy John Robinson, who would also become an NFL head coach. And he played his high school ball at Jefferson High, eventually wound up playing tackle at the University of Oregon and later Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. Played well enough that in 1958, he was a 21st round draft pick of the Philadelphia Eagles. That's right, the draft had 30 rounds then.
But Charles, you mentioned Coach was a 21st round draft pick back in 1958. It was the Philadelphia Eagles who selected him. But unfortunately for John, knee problems, they just continued to dog him. He was hurt in his first training camp, actually never saw the field as a player in the NFL. But it was still during his time with the Eagles, you and I were talking about this before going on air, that you could start to see the light bulb going on for what his career path might entail.
And it went on in a big way, didn't it? Because while he was rehabbing his knee, he started to spend a lot of time breaking down film with the Eagles, with quarterback Norm Van Brocklin, the future Hall of Famer and future head coach in the NFL. Remember, Norm Van Brocklin coached with the Falcons, he coached with the Vikings. And it's there, during that time, I think Coach Madden realized his love of football and love for teaching, combining all that together, and that meant being a football coach. So in 1960, began his coaching career at a small college south of San Luis Obispo called Allen Hancock, and then later at San Diego State University under another legendary coach, the guy who could throw it around pretty well, Don Coryell.
On 1st and 10, it's Sanders. And he'll get this one down to about the 20-yard line. 40 yards rushing for him already. A terrific opening drive on the ground, and it's a first down. From the red zone now, they'll look to throw. Complete to the tight end, Kittle, over the middle of the field. And they've got it inside the 10 at the 8. 11 more on that one and another first down.
A lot of precision being shown on this opening drive. They've been methodical. They've been crisp. And as a reward, they're going to be set up with an early 1st and goal.
1st and goal, a chance for an early statement here on the road. They'll run with Sanders. And he's going to pull his way down to about the 1-yard line. A good pickup there, 7 yards, and it's going to be 2nd and goal now. They'll try to run for it here with Dickerson. And he will carry this one in. Touchdown, NFC. Eric Dickerson taking it in from a yard out. And the NFC takes it all the way down the field to score on their opening drive. Well, nothing fancy there, Charles. You had 3 tight ends on the field. They were going to run the football. The defense knew it, but the defense couldn't stop them.
And I haven't met an offensive line yet that doesn't get more satisfaction out of running the football into the end zone than pass protecting. They had determination on their side, and they got it done.
Morton Anderson now for the extra point. His kick is good, and the NFC goes up 7-0. So that drive goes 8 plays, and it ends with a 1-yard touchdown run. Following the touchdown, here's Anderson to kick it away. And Hall not going to bring this one out. So, Charles, as mentioned, we've got another Coach Madden over here on the AFC sideline. Of course, his Raiders, members of the AFC West. So this is a conference he battled in for his entire career. And you think about the landscape of the NFL as he was getting into the back half of his tenure. It was a golden era for coaches. You had Don Shula, Tom Landry, Chuck Noll, Bud Grant. But it was John Madden who had the best winning percentage of them all, CD. 759. The best ever.
Brandon, it's hard to believe he could be so successful in the conference with all those great teams. The Steelers won 4 Super Bowls. The Dolphins won 2 and were a mainstay in the playoffs. The Colts were tough. The Broncos came on late and went to a Super Bowl themselves. But against Hall of Fame coaches, John Madden's record, 36, 16, and 2. That's pretty incredible. His Raiders were a factor each and every year.
1 quarter in the books at the Coliseum. What a day. The NFC Stars with the early lead in the John Madden Legacy game on EA Sports. So from the 39 now, they'll come up on a 1st and 10. Now a give running left. It's Bettis. And they'll get him down after a pickup of 8, 2nd and 2. Well, Charles, you know, it was in the early 1960s that a young John Madden made the acquaintance of the owner of the Oakland Raiders, one Al Davis, of course. And the two, they really bonded, would become one of the best owner-coach duos in NFL history. And to take it a step further, Al Davis became someone who John referred to as his best friend.
Yeah, 1967, Brandon, Al Davis hired Coach Madden to be a linebackers coach. Remember, this was still the AFL at that point. We had not merged totally with the NFL. And Coach Madden, he paid dividends almost immediately. Helped the Raiders win the AFL title in 1968. And that meant a date with the Green Bay Packers in what was now known as Super Bowl II. But by 1969, at the age of 32, just 32, Brandon, John Madden assumed the mantle of head coach of the Oakland Raiders. And what a ride he, the Raiders, and the NFL were about to go on.
On 1st and 10, here's Brady. Open man is Andre Reed, complete. Charles, you talked about John Madden and the Raiders going on a ride. Well, try these numbers on for size. In 10 seasons as a head coach, the Raiders won their division 7 times. They finished 2nd the other 3 times, and he became the youngest coach to amass 100 career regular season victories and is still, to this day, the franchise leader in wins.
And when you think about it, that's where that rivalry with Kansas City really took root. As did the expression commitment to excellence. And boy, was it personified by the players who played for Coach Madden. On offense, how about quarterback Kenny Stabler, wide receiver Cliff Branch, wide receiver Fred Biletnikoff, tight end Dave Casper, to name a few. How about those great linemen he had? Center Jim Otto, guard Gene Upshaw, tackle Art Shell, all of them in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And guys on the defensive side of the ball.
And that is caught for an AFC touchdown. Tyreek Hill, a 7-yard NFC is an extra point away from tying this game up. But Charles, here in their opening series, they said they had certain plays scripted for certain players. That looked like a well-designed play to get one of their top targets involved.
Yeah, let's face it, Brandon. A player of his talent is a problem for any opponent to defend, and we saw it right there. They tried to deny an open lane to him. He still outplayed the coverage and scored the early touchdown. Good luck trying to figure out how to defend him as this game moves on.
Each team's had it. Each team has scored. 7-7 here as the kick's away. Here comes Devin Hester bringing it out. And tackled at the 21-yard line, so a net negative there of 4 yards. The NFC offense coming out here. And you know, Charles, Coach Madden always said that if he had one drive to win a game and he had to pick a quarterback, he would pick Kenny Stabler. But I think if you asked him to omit any of his Raiders players, there's a good chance the guy he'd select would be Brett Favre.
Brett Favre is always smiling. He's always laughing. He's always talking to someone. He remembers that it's a game. And if it's a game, you should have fun.
And Brandon, that always reminds me of a great movie line where one of the players was telling the coach, every time I say it's a game, you say it's a business.
Nowhere to go here. He lost the football. And that's picked up by the AFC. And he is going to bring this one back. A fumble return for an AFC touchdown. So the big fella gets on the scoreboard with a return for a touchdown. Good thing he didn't have to go too far, though.
You know the trainers were very happy about that. Imagine having to go get him in the end zone, escort him to the bench, and give him the oxygen. They were loving the fact that he got in without having to run very far.
Vinatieri now to tack on the PAT. And he's got it. It's now a 14-7 ball game. The scoop and score, always an exciting play in football, and we witnessed it there. Grabbing it off the ground and then rumbling it into the end zone for 6. Fields it right around the goal line. And out a little across the 25 to the 27. Now the NFC heading back out. Hall of Famer Randy Moss, a part of this offense. And Coach Madden, boy, he always appreciated the ferociousness with which number 84 attacked the football in the air.
As Randy Moss says, just chunk it up there, dog, and I'll go get it.
And, Coach, boy, did he ever go get it. Over 15,000 receiving yards, 156 touchdowns. And how about this? From his rookie year of 1998 until 2009, those were his prime seasons, right? He led the league in touchdowns 5 times, but even more so, he showed us all how to go up and get it. Great body control. No one's ever done it better playing the ball in the air.
And that's good for a pickup of 10 yards. And that'll leave him with a second and just a few inches left. Throwing is far. He's going to rifle one deep left side. He's got him in. Complete. Touchdown. Jerry Rice. 63 yards. And the NFC strikes quickly for 6.
After nearly 30 minutes of football, that touchdown puts us in a position where if they make the extra point, we're right back to even before we start the second half.
Now to try to add the extra point, the lefty Anderson. Now we've got a good one brewing. We're all knotted up at 14. The long touchdown pass gets him 6 on a very, very tiny 2-play drive that time. This one tied at 14 now as he sends this one away. No run back here for Hall, and this will come out to the 25. Now the AFC making their way out, and it's one of Coach's favorites, another local guy, Tom Brady, who will be at the controls. And boy, Coach always admired the way number 12 could run an offense, and especially his ability to stay calm under pressure.
Tom Brady is a guy who's always looking downfield. He never looks at the rush. He hangs in the pocket, and he makes a throw. He's a cool guy. He's a tough guy. Let me tell you, there's no one calmer in the pocket than Tom Brady.
And I know that Coach has a great appreciation for Tom Brady, who turned 45 back on August 3rd, because Coach coached a guy like him in George Blanda, who played a long time in the NFL. In this game, it features legends and active players. Tom Brady qualifies as both.
Brady will try again on second down. And he'll find Hall. And he takes this up to the 40-yard line before being corralled. Now the AFC going to use the first of their timeouts, as the clock will stop with 20 seconds to go in the first half. Throwing on first down is Brady. There's Hall bringing in another one. Now another timeout called for by the offense. So that means they're down to one remaining here as we head toward halftime. Now Brady again. He finds his man, complete. That's Hall. Now a signal and a timeout call, as it comes with 9 seconds to go in this first half of play. Brady going to try and throw on third down. And that is incomplete. 7 seconds remaining. On is the Hall of Famer Ray Guy to punt this away on fourth down. And he gets it away. A directional kick going toward the sideline. And no return here. Where will they spot it? They say just outside the 20-yard line. He'll take the knee, and the final couple seconds will tick by in this. Well, coming up in the second half, we'll run through John's post-coaching triumphs. But for now, we present a very special tribute to the man of the hour, narrated by Trey Mosley.
What comes to mind when you hear the name Madden? Is it the coach who led the Raiders to their first Super Bowl victory? Perhaps it's the broadcaster who entertained millions of fans. Or maybe it's the video game known simply by his name. But no matter what comes to mind when you hear the name Madden, everyone thinks of one thing: football.
The core of it was football. It's the greatest game in the world. The left goes to the right goes to the left.
Madden is on the field. He wants to know if it's real. John Madden goes on the shoulders of his players.
In my mind, John Madden is the most important figure in the history of professional football. Show me somebody else who did it on 3 levels the way John did it. There's nobody.
Boy, Charles, yeah, that is really well done. Coach was something else, wasn't he?
I'm reminded what Al Davis said when he was inducted coach of the Pro Football Hall of Fame, Brandon. He loved the game. He loved his team. He loved the Raiders. He loved this league. And you can see it with everything he does.
No doubt. But it's quite possible, though, that now he would say, hey, enough of that. Let's play some football. The second half forthcoming from Oakland. Well, the AFC offense heading back out. You know, Charles, Coach really loved to utilize his tight ends in the passing game. You think about Dave Casper, Hall of Famer for those great Raider teams. And I think he saw a lot of Dave Casper in an all-Madden staple, Tony Gonzalez.
Tony Gonzalez is the type of tight end I think everyone's looking for. He's a guy that can make some big plays from that tight end position. Let me tell you, you better make sure you have him accounted for on every play.
And that's exactly right, because Dave Casper, he could shred defenses down the middle of the field. And that's exactly what Tony Gonzalez did in his entire career. A 14-time Pro Bowl selection. Only Tom Brady has more. There's 6 guys in the 15,000-yard receiving club. He's the only tight end in there. Tony Gonzalez, every snap you had to know where he was, because he could make plays short, medium, and long, and often put the ball in the end zone.
Now, that's a mountain of a man that just made that stop, isn't it? But he's more than that. This guy's nimble and quick. More than a space eater, he just made a great play there.
Now on 3rd and long, they'll look to throw. Oh, this is intercepted, intended for Hill. And he brings it back to right around the 26-yard line. First possession of the 3rd quarter, an interception, so maybe a second-half tone setter.
Indeed, and not the tone they wanted to set. That's the equivalent of running out the wrong door and running into your pool instead of running out onto the field. A real dud for that one.
Has that happened to you before?
No, but I've heard stories about teams actually doing that back in the good old days.
1st and 10, it's Favre. Open man right side is Cup, complete. So now, Charles, to pick up the story we've been telling, John Madden at 42. He had just completed a 10-year stint as the coach of the Raiders. He wants to step away a bit from the grind of coaching, but he doesn't want to step away from the game of football. So he ends up signing on with CBS in 1979 to try his hand at broadcasting. And much like his coaching career, he was pretty much an instant success.
Partner, he really connected with the people right from the start, and people may not remember he wasn't even on the #1 team in the beginning. He worked his way up. But the same things that made him a great coach made him a great broadcaster. The ability to show the big picture, yet break it down into the details. That's what he did with his teams. That's what he did with the people. That way, he was simple to understand, yet insightful for viewers, and did with that big touchdown.
An 11-yard touchdown. And the NFC, they take advantage of the interception. They turn it into 6 points. So this game tied at the half, but we are tied no more. A touchdown there on the opening sequence of this 3rd quarter.
And what a great drive put together by their offensive coordinator. He had a plan, and they executed it almost to perfection, coming right out of the locker room. Now they're feeling good about their chances here in the 2nd half.
Extra point by Anderson, up and good. And the lead is now 21-14. Following the touchdown, here's Anderson to kick it away. And Hall not going to bring this one out. The offense for the AFC set to go now. And really, Charles, not much of a surprise that they're losing. They just haven't been able to get much of anything going in the pass game. And as you well know, in today's NFL, if the passing game isn't working, usually not much else is working either.
Exactly right about that, partner. And I know that right now the easy answer would be, hey, let's run the football. But that might not be everything you need. So despite the fact...
And he fumbled it. It's on the ground. And his guys will take over at the 25-yard line.
He doesn't give many opportunities to carry it, so he's got to maximize. In this case, after dropping it like that, I think his number's going to go way down. What do you think?
Yeah, and sometimes those fullbacks, let's just be frank, they usually don't have the hands that the running back does.
And it's hard for them because they do so much blocking. A lot of times, their hands actually get beat up in the process, and it's hard for them to hold on to the football.
On 1st down, Favre. Throw right side, going to be complete to Moss. And he is going to lose yardage here. That one unable to develop, never got going. A loss of a couple, and it's 2nd down. Here's Favre to throw. Nowhere to go here. He lost the football. So for Coach Madden, Charles, by 1981, his broadcasting career is really taking off. He's elevated to the network's #1 booth that calls all the big matchups. And he gets the plum assignment of calling Super Bowl 16, 49ers and Bengals, and he's teamed up with Pat Summerall. And that pairing ultimately would go on to be one of the most influential in sports broadcasting history.
Influential not just in us listening to them. Remember, they went out and called 8 Super Bowls together. But how they put together kind of the template that all of us broadcasters follow now. Sitting down with the head coaches and the quarterbacks and the stars of each team before a ball game to get extra information. And the way that those two paired together, Pat Summerall, short, concise, to the point, and turned it over to Coach Madden to fill in all the big details.
So that's, CD, an important one here in the fourth quarter.
And that importance cannot be overstated. All eyes on both sidelines were staring that one down all the way. The significance is that they made it a two-score game. Still lots of time left to go, but likely that was their goal at the start of the drive. Get 3 points, make it a two-score game, and they were able to get it done.
The AFC offense set to take their next drive. A tougher task for them now. That turnover on their last possession led to the field goal, meaning that they have to now try to erase a two-score deficit here in the fourth. And down he goes, but he takes it up to the 40. As you mentioned, CD, talking about John Madden, the broadcaster, he called 8 Super Bowls with Pat Summerall, 3 more with Al Michaels later in his career. He spent nearly 3 decades in the booth all told. And not only was he beloved for his mannerisms, we know that, but he was an innovator as well.
Yeah, Brandon, you're talking about things like the telestrator, which totally became identified with him, and now it's a staple for all analysts to have in the booth. And then you think about things like turducken on Thanksgiving, when he used words like boom and pow. He helped create the All-Madden team. He was a very popular commercial pitch man. And even the Madden Cruiser was unique, and you had to be someone to get a ride on it, too.
Throwing again on second down. Brady. Looking sideline, incomplete. Now, CD, we did get a little ahead of ourselves talking about John Madden, the broadcaster in the 90s and 2000s, because there was another product during that time period that he became quite famous for. It's something that you and I know a little bit about, and that's the video game that bears his name. Originally John Madden Football when it was first released back in the late 1980s, and now known the world over simply as Madden.
And Coach saw this originally as a way to teach the game of football. The early designs were for a 7-on-7 game, but he said no chance. He would not sign off on it. He wanted to be as realistic as possible. He told them, call me when it's 11 on 11. And he got his wish.
Yeah, after that debut, Madden, the video game, continued to pick up steam through the 90s in a big way. And John himself, many will remember, was a commentator for the series for many years. And now here we are in the 2020s, and this game has sold somewhere in the neighborhood of 150 million copies. And he's got his big wide receiver complete. And now this is going to depend on the spot. And they say he's just short. They start on the ground here at Sanders. And he was very fortunate there to get out of his end zone. He maybe got back to the 2-yard line. Another running situation on the doorstep as they come up 2nd and 10. Another run with Sanders. And he will double the space they have to work with as they take it from the 2 to the 4. And hold on here, because on that last run, it looks like we have a player who was shaken up. Well, now they're going to come out and take a look at this injury, and we'll be back in a moment. Man open, it's Kupp. He's got it. Now the AFC going to use their final timeout of the half, as they'll get it with just a shade under a minute to go in the game. Victory very much in sight now as they'll take a knee. Well, this has certainly been special. And, Charles, as we wind down toward the end of this John Madden legacy game, your final thoughts?
Well, let's face it, partner, it's going to be hard to overestimate the impact that he made, not just on the sport of football, but on his family, friends, players, co-workers, and in the lives of millions of Americans who watched him. There will never be another John Madden.
Victory very much in sight now as they'll take a knee. So it's a win here for the NFC. Just an incredible afternoon of football and remembering the life of John Madden. And before we go, one final message. And for all of us at EA Sports, this one's for you, Coach.
I just say this, I thank you all very much. This has been the sweetest ride of them all.
So we ended up getting the dub with the NFC, and that was fun, hearing and, learning about and from, Coach John Madden. But that'll wrap it up for the Madden Legacy game. I'm out of here. I'm gone. Peace out. Can't wait to give you guys some more Madden 23 content. Dunk Squad, play like Madden.